What's your immediate reaction to that?
Oh, where'd you start? Look, I thought we were all right for 20 minutes. I thought, obviously we started well, we could have had a goal in the first minute. But then obviously Theo's been done. He's been done with a goal. He'll hold his hands up, he should never be done by it, you know what I mean? We don't know, we don't know if he thought it went over, so we haven't really spoken to him about it yet, but that's just turned it. I just thought we lost a little bit of belief from there, and look, we just started playing some stupid football, balls in the air, which is just not us, you know. Don't mind turning, you know, when you need to turn it round, as I say, pump it up the pitch and what have you, but yeah, aimless without a name football at times, and obviously we've come out second half, and I think we've carried that on. I think, you know, I don't know, about 5 or 6 goal kicks, they just pumping them up there, stay for there, two lads sitting in there just to swallow up, mate. So yeah, not great.
Where did you feel like it went wrong tonight?
Well, look, I say we were good for the first 20 minutes. I think they've had one shot, as I say. You know, we were getting in and out. Not like we forced the keeper into big saves, but we're in and around the box and we're hitting them and we're moving the ball well. I just think we've lost belief once they've scored, because it was a strange goal. You know, as I say, I know he's done that on Saturday, but it should never have happened. You know, we think Theo was as close to his line as he needed to be. We don't know. I don't know if he's lost flight of it or what, but that seemed to just turn it and lost our way a little bit. You know, a few lads obviously, what's my job, what's my role, what's my responsibility type of thing, and a few lads just dropped off it. I think that's all it is. Look, they ran over us. You know, they ran, and once you've got something like that, look, we know Avro very, very well. You know what I mean? When they've got the bit between the teeth, they're going to be an hard side, and once they've got the second, mate, it's going to be a tough afternoon and, well, tough evening.
Is it a surprise, the lack of belief?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Obviously, look, the emotions raging inside me at the moment, because obviously I've just seen us get beat 3-0 at home. First time we've lost here in 13 months, but it was just things to question in the second half. As I say, we aimless without a name football. As I say, too many balls in the air. Just a few lads look like, you know, it's easy to say down tools. Just look like a few lads lost belief on the pitch, and that's a concern, of course it is. But look, you know, yeah, you know, we've only lost 2 games this season and this, that and the other, but you know, you can't gloss over it, can you? It's a 3-0 defeat at home and it's not great.
Is it possibly a chance to bounce back now, given it's obviously the team's got credit in the bank after the last 18 months?
Well, look, obviously you were going to Bury on Saturday, so there's no bigger game. But look, you know, they'll be rubbing their hands at seeing us getting there and thinking the dressing room's going to be a bit flat. And look, you know, probably made their team talk for us, you know what I mean? Obviously, knowing quite well we've had a tough day today, but no, look, there's credit in the bank. You know, there's going to be, and there always will be. But we're not here to make the numbers up, and we've had such a good start. And, you know, look, we've had a couple of games. I think that which away, there was lads questioning things that had gone on in that game, even though we were 2-1 up. And then on Saturday, obviously, Stalybridge have come here and put it on us, and we've come away with 3 points, which you've got to do. You've got to dog it out when you're not playing well. And I just think we've had a couple of, obviously, on the back of Stalybridge, I think, you know, we've turned up tonight, good 20, but then, you know, it was a poor 70 minutes after that from us.
And given the result, is it a bit of a reality check?
It's hard to say, because I know all about Avro. I know how good they were going to be, or how tough they were going to be. And as I say, we've started the game very, very well. If you get a goal in that first 20 minutes, then it's a different game, isn't it? But, you know, goals are hard to come by in certain games, as I say. And as I say, once they've got the first, and then especially when they've got the second, not a reality check as such, but just knowing a few lads have got to raise the game again now. As I say, we've probably had 3 or 4 lads who are dipping below the standard that they've set themselves, which is going to happen. It's a long season, but we've got to do better with the football ultimately. That's it, get back to what we're good at, you know. And look, we'll go to a great place in terms of Bury with the surface, so there's going to be no excuses there. You know, we're not going on to a bobbly grass pitch and this and the other. So, look, reality check, probably a little bit too much, but no, knowing quite well what we've got to do as a team again and just get back to it.
Is it even more disappointing the fact after that good 20 minutes you barely laid the glove on them?
Yeah, certainly is. As I say, I'm disappointed with the second half. The first half, you know, 20. Look, they've had 3 shots in the first half, 2 of them hit the back of the net. One should never get there. You know, the second one we've got to do better. As I say, we've sold ourselves in their half, and then we're 10, 15, 20 yards off the man. I'll have to look back how far the gaps was, but there was too many of that gaps for the last 25 minutes. But the second half, I'm bitterly disappointed, because as I say, what we've said in there, they haven't done. You know, we've just kicked balls from the goalie, you know, and 5, 6 times, and not like someone said, look, let's get a grip of this and let's do this and let's do that. And too many poor balls, you know. And I say it a lot. I say when we win games of football, you know, we have these moments, 5-minute spells where we start turning balls over. A lot of teams do. It's football, but we've been punished by doing it tonight.
When we've spoken in recent weeks, you felt like you've had a great start, and you haven't had yet had a blip. Do you feel like this could be the start of it and maybe want to sort of nip in the bud early on?
But it's only our second defeat of the season. We're sitting top of the league, do you know what I mean? So, and it's our first defeat at home in 13 months. But I can't hang on that, you know, because I'd like to stay and make it 14 months, you know what I mean? But no, look, I'm just bitterly disappointed to lose a game of football, 3-0 at home. As I say, look, we're in an unbelievable position, you know, as I say, we've just got to bounce straight back from it. But yeah, there's questions to be asked. We've been beat at home, 3-0. And the second half performance is really, really the concern for me, because obviously the level that we dropped to. But no, look, I know what I've got in that dressing room, you know what I mean? I'm not going to hang them on that type of thing. But they're disappointed in there, of course they are. But I haven't even had a chance to speak to them since the game's finished. But look, there'll be words after it, of course they will. But ultimately, we've just got to go and roll our sleeves up on Saturday and go and put in a big performance.